The ordinance before us today is the first in a series of good government reforms to come out of the permits task force Commissioner Ryan and I have co-chaired over the past year. The purpose of this task force is to make our permitting process work better. An efficient and user-friendly permitting process is important because it is critical to the growth of our city. To grow our city and to grow our economy, we must build. We must build more houses, we must build more commercial spaces, and we must build better infrastructure. And every building project in Portland begins with a permit. And as we all know, Portland's permitting process is broken. Portlanders consistently tell us that Portland's permitting systems are too complicated, too expensive, and too slow. Over the next year or so, the Permits Reform Task Force, chaired by Commissioner Ryan and I, will unveil a series of proposed permitting reforms designed to fix that. Today, we'll learn about the first of these reforms. The Permits Task Force recommends that this council implements a series of common sense changes to our permitting process, which will make it easier for our customers to navigate our permitting systems. Here to tell us more about this ordinance, we have Terry Tyson, our Permit Improvement Strategy Manager, Donnie Oliveira, Interim Director of BPS, and Shannon Carney, Senior Policy Advisor in my office. Terry, Donnie, Shannon, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Mapps, and thank you, Commissioner Ryan. Good morning, Commissioner Rubio, Commissioner Hardesty, and Mayor Wheeler. We have a short presentation to share with you, just a few slides, to provide some background, some context, and expected impact for the resolution for your consideration, followed by time for your questions. The Permit Improvement Task Force has been working since April of 2021 on several initiatives, which are focused on data and performance metrics, as well as process and structure improvements. The resolution we are presenting to you today is one of the outcomes of this work. You can advance the slide, please. One of the guideposts the task force has used as a North Star is the March 2021 audit. Several recommendations were highlighted in the audit. The resolution we bring to you today has been repeatedly identified over the years as an issue in need of regulatory reform. A task force work group representing multiple bureaus collaborated to develop a resolution that would be relatively easy to implement and create a more efficient and predictable process for customers. As mentioned, the Permit Improvement Task Force, led by Commissioner Ryan and Commissioner Mapps, includes bureau directors and division leaders from 7 city bureaus, as well as representatives from the development community, all the commissioners' offices, and the mayor's office. This group has endorsed this resolution. The resolution was also shared with customers who interact with the permitting system, as well as staff who manage and implement the changes to code and fees to ensure that the resolution would have the intended impact. The resolution will address all 3 of the task force overarching goals: reducing the timeline, improving customer service, and improving performance management. I would now like to hand it over to my colleague, Shannon Carney, to share more details about the resolution's impact on the permitting process and customer experience.
Thanks, Terry. It's great working with you on this project. It's not common that you get 2 bites of the apple and working on a city policy. So it's great to be here. My name is Shannon Carney, Senior Policy Advisor for Commissioner Mapps. And I don't know, are we moved to the next slide?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to advance slides.
That's okay.
There we go.
And maybe one more.
And then one more, I think.
Perfect. Okay. So just to say a few words about the proposal that we're bringing for you today, it really focuses on that second goal that Terry mentioned about improving development customers' experience. And what we're proposing is that we adopt a city policy that all development related code changes take effect at one of 2 dates each year, either that March 1st or October 1st dates. And the fee changes take effect at the beginning of each fiscal year, which is fairly common practice at this point, but not, there's still some ad hoc fee changes currently. I should note here that code and fee changes can still be considered by council at any time in case you're worried about how those February and September council agendas might look. The resolution really is focused on when the changes take effect rather than when they are adopted. There is also some fine print at the bottom, as you might notice. So the policy we're proposing does allow for exemptions in situations that require more swift action. So whether they're for emergencies, legal or compliance reasons, or if they're simply just technical in nature and won't have a large impact on customers. And Donnie will discuss more examples of those a little bit later. Next slide, please. Great. So we see this as a common sense change that will improve our customers' experience in several ways. Certainly, it will create a more consistent and predictable experience for as development customers are designing or seeking permits for their projects, as you might imagine. It really helps ensure that the city is part of doing our part to help our customers improve their initial submissions, which has been a big focus for the task force. As you can imagine, sporadic changes can result in delays as project corrections are passed back and forth between customers and city staff. And finally, one thing I wanted to note is that it creates opportunities for bureaus to coordinate more on these code changes. So on the front end, that might look like more robust community outreach. And on the, and later in the code changes, it might look more like bureaus working together to provide training for customers. Next slide. And thank you, that's perfect. So we also see this proposal as a win-win. While we expect benefits to flow to customers, we also think this will be a better process for development review staff that are handling the just incredible amount of applications that come through the door every day. It will enable our bureaus to be more efficient in managing changes. So whether they're updating communication materials or just planning on when they need more staff in the office, the more predictable workflow should be able to enable the city across bureaus to plan ahead.